Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Myself Chaitanya Viers, both some ECE department. This video is about Constitution of India and Professional Ethics, and today my presentation on Indian Constitution Assembly. Introduction to the Constituent Assembly. A Constituent Assembly, also known as a Constitutional Convention, Constitutional Congress, or Constitution Assembly, is a body assembled for the purpose of drafting or revising a constitution. Members of Constituent Assembly may be elected by popular vote, drawn by suffragan, appointed, or some combination of these methods. Assemblies are typically considered distinct from a regular legislature, although members of the legislature may compose a significant number or all of its members. As the fundamental document constituting a state, a constitution cannot normally be modified or amended by the state's normal legislative procedures in some jurisdictions. Instead, a constitutional convention or a constituent assembly, the rules for which are normally laid down in the constitution, must be set up. A constituent assembly is usually set up for its specific purpose, which it carries out in a relatively short time, after which the assembly is dissolved. A constituent assembly is a form of representative democracy. Indian Constituent Assembly. The Indian Constituent Assembly of India was elected to write the Constitution of India and served as its first parliament as an independent nation. It was set up as a result of negotiations between the leaders of the Indian independence movement and members of British cabinet mission. The Constituent Assembly was elected indirectly by the members of the Provincial Legislative Assembly, which existed under the British Raj. It first met on December 9, 1946 in Delhi. On August 15, 1947, India became an independent nation and the Constituent Assembly started functioning as India's parliament. B.R. Ambedkar drafted the Constitution of India in conjunction with the request, deliberations, and debates in the Constituent Assembly. The Assembly approved the Constitution on November 26, 1949, celebrated as Constitution Day, and it took effect on January 26, 1950, a day now as celebrated Republic Day in India. Once the Constitution took effect, the Constituent Assembly became the provisional parliament of India. The Constituent Assembly of India was elected to frame the Constitution of India. It was elected by the Provincial Assembly following India's independence from the British rule in 1947. Its members served as the nation's first parliament as the Provisional Parliament of India. The Indian Nation Congress held its session at Lucknow in April 1936, presided by Jawaharlal Nehru. The official demand for the Constituent Assembly was raised, and the Government of India Act 1935 was rejected as it imposed the constitution, which was against the will of the Indians. Sri C. Rajagopalachari voiced the demand for a Constituent Assembly on 15th November 1939 based on adult franchise, and was accepted by the British in August 1940. On 8th August 1940, a statement was made by Viceroy Lord Linlithgow about the expansion of the Governor-General's Executive Council and the establishment of a War Advisor Council. The offer, known as the August Offer, included giving full weight to minority opinions and allowing Indians to draft their own constitution. Under the Cabinet Mission Plan of 1946, elections were held for the first time for the Constituent Assembly. The Constitution of India was drafted by the Constituent Assembly and it was implemented under the Cabinet Mission Plan on 16th May 1946. The members of the Constituent Assembly were elected by the provincial assemblies by a single transferable vote system of proportional representation. The total membership on the Constituent Assembly was 389, of which 292 were representatives of the provinces, 93 represented the princely states, and 4 were from the Chief Commissioner provinces of Delhi, Ajmer, Mirawar, Cargo and British. The elections for the 296 seats assigned to the British Indian provinces were completed by the August 1946. Congress won 208 seats and the Muslim League 73. After this election, the Muslim League refused to cooperate with the Congress and the political situation deteriorated. Hindu-Muslim riots began and the Muslim League demanded a separate constituent assembly for Muslims in India. On 3 June 1947, Lord Mountbatten, the last British Governor General of India, announced his intention to scrap the Cabinet Mission Plan. This culminated in the India Independence Act 1947 and the separate nations of Pakistan and India. The Indian Independence Act was passed on 18 July 1947 and although it was earlier declared that India would become independent in June 1947, this event led to independence on 15 August 1947. The Constituent Assembly met for the first time on the 9th December 1946, reassembling on 14 August 1947 as the sovereign body and successor to the British Parliament authorities in India. As a result of the partition under the Mountbatten Plan, a separate Constituent Assembly of Pakistan was established on 3rd June 1947. The representatives of the areas incorporated into Pakistan ceased to be members of the Constituent Assembly of India. New elections were held for the West Punjab and East Bengal, which became part of Pakistan, although East Bengal later ceased to become Bangladesh. The membership of the Constituent Assembly was 299 after the reorganization and it met on 31st December 1947. The constitution was drafted by 299 delegates from different caste, region, religion, gender, etc. These delegates sat over 114 days spread over 3 years, 2 years, 11 months and 18 days to the previous and discussed what the constitution should contain and what laws should be included. The drafting committee of the constitution was chaired by B.R. Ambedkar. The background and election of the Indian Constitution. India was still under British rule when the Constituent Assembly was established. Following negotiation between Indian leaders and members of the 1946 Cabinet Mission to India from the United Kingdom, provincial assembly elections were held in early 1946. Constituent Assembly members were elected indirectly by members of the newly elected provincial assemblies and initially included representatives for those provinces that formed part of Pakistan, some of which are now in Bangladesh. The Constituent Assembly had 389 representatives, include 15 women. The interim government of India was formed on 2nd September 1946 from the newly elected Constituent Assembly. Constitution and elections. At 11 a.m. on 9th December 1946, the Assembly began its first session with 211 members attending. The Assembly approved the draft Constitution on 26 November 1949. On 26 January 1950, the Constitution took effect, commenced as Republic Day, and the Constituent Assembly became the Provisional Parliament of India containing until after the first election under the new constitution in 1952. Organization. Rajendra Prasad was elected as the president and Arendra Kumar Mukherjee, a Christian from Bengal and former vice chancellor of Calcutta University, was vice president. The assembly's work had five stages. Committees presented reports on issues. B. N. Rao prepared a initial draft based on the reports and his research into the constitution of other nations. The drafting committee, chaired by Dr. B. R. Ambedkar, presented a detailed draft constitution which was republished for public decision. The draft constitution was discussed and amendments were proposed and enhanced. The constitution was adopted with a committee of experts led by the Congress Party, known as the Congress Assembly Party, played a pivotal role. The major committees of the Constituent Assembly. First one, Drafting Committee, Bhimrao Ambedkar, Union Power Committee, Jawaharlal Nehru, Union Constitution Committee, Jawaharlal Nehru, Provincial Constitution Committee, Vallabhbhai Patel, Advisory Committee on Fundamental Rights, Minorities and Tribal and Excluded Areas, Vallabhbhai Patel, Rules of Procedure Committee, Rajendra Prasad, States Committee, Jawaharlal Nehru, Steering Committee, Rajendra Prasad, Ad hoc Committee on the National Flag, Rajendra Prasad, Committee for the Function of the Constitution Assembly, J. V. Malvankar, House Committee B. Pattabhi Sitaramaya, Language Committee Muthurai Satyanarayan, Order of Business Committee K. M. Munshi. In this picture, we can see the Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar chairman with other members of the drafting committee of the Constituent Assembly of India on 29th August 1947. Thank you.